to the Odds Breakers, your number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
All right, welcome back, my friends, to podcast 31 of 2018. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can tweet me at the Public Dog, or you can tweet us at the Odds Breakers. We have an awesome show for you guys today. Super excited to welcome a new handicapper to the Odds Breakers, Uncle Tito. He is going to break down the American Athletic Conference for us today. You know, that old conference with Central Florida in it last year. Everybody's dream bet of the last 2 years against the spread. Super excited to talk about that. And if you're looking for a sports book, since football is around the corner, not sure if you put some of those future bets in, but you can check out mybookie.ag. Use the promo code TheOddsBreakers for a one-time 50% bonus. As a matter of fact, scratch that. After August 2nd, it's going to be a 100% bonus. So please do not open a MyBookie account until August 2nd. And then use the promo code TheOddsBreakers, and you'll get a one-time 100% bonus and a $10 Super Bowl future bet. So if you bet on the Bears to win the Super Bowl for $10 for free, you win $1,000. Because we all know they're going to win the Super Bowl. Well, you don't have to bet on the Bears, that's for sure. But you can definitely bet on any team you want from mybookie.ag. You know, we do have some t-shirts on our site now, up and ready to roll. I can't guarantee that you're going to look really cool in them. But what I can guarantee is that you're going to be helping us out. And they're a pretty good deal. About $20. You get two choices right now. We will be adding to that. Hope you enjoy them. Please check it out and feel free to purchase. You can pay via PayPal or via credit card. Should you like to contribute to the Odds Breakers, please tweet me or tweet us at the Odds Breakers. You can contact us through our website, theoddsbreakers.com. We could see what you want to specialize in, see how long you've been handicapping, just a few questions that we have, but it's now or never. If you want to get started in the handicapping world, we'd love to hear from you. We always are looking for more shared information. So please tweet at us if you are a handicapper and are able to contribute and get your name out there. Without further ado, let's introduce my man, Uncle Tito. All right, we got our man, Uncle Tito, here to break down the American Athletic Conference. Uncle Tito is also going to specialize in some NFL plays and do some fantasy blogs for the Odds Breakers. Really happy that you're coming on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
You've been pretty successful, so really appreciate you coming on, helping our listeners out, and especially coming on to take on the American Athletic Conference, man. It's the real money is won on a lot of these smaller conferences that Vegas doesn't pay attention, because they don't see a ton of public wagering going on it. And so they care about the Power Five, but the Group of Five stuff gets overlooked a lot. And that's why it's so awesome to have somebody that specializes in these smaller concerts. Smaller conferences. So I can't wait to hear what you got, my man. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Obviously, Central Florida, boom, last year. I mean, let's go from best to worst. Your best this year to worst. You can go ahead and start. Is it Central Florida or is it someone else?
Central Florida is definitely at the top. I mean, you'd have to think, just right off the top, the thing that kind of sticks out is obviously, Scott Frost is out. He leaves for the Nebraska job, and he did an amazing job kind of taking over that team. It was an 0-12 team, took it to 7-6, and then followed up with a 13-0 campaign and, self-proclaimed national championships.
Mm-hmm.
But Josh Heupel's taken over the job. He's the former offensive coordinator in Missouri. So I'm really excited to see what him and Mackenzie Milton are able to do together. Based on kind of everything I read about spring camp and their spring game, they're going to be a lot more vertical, lots of no huddle. So it's going to be really exciting to kind of watch that team kind of evolve.
Yeah.
See what they're able to do.
They seem like a pretty fast-paced team last year. I wonder if they're going to catch people by surprise or if someone's going to be a little bit more ready for them. Obviously, they lost a couple big games to the draft. Was it Shaquem Griffin, is it?
Yeah, Shaquem Griffin. He went to the Seahawks.
And he was a big motivator of that team. I think he lost a cornerback or two as well and a few other key players. I wonder how much this team drops off without Scott Frost. That's
I mean,
that's my biggest question,
Yeah, Mike Hughes is the cornerback you're kind of referring to. The one thing I will say is, they have plenty of weapons, even though Traquan Smith left as well and Jordan Atkins left for the draft. They do have a lot of weapons. One person, Deidrick Nelson, he had 40 grabs last year, had over 600 yards. So I think they do have a lot of, good pieces in place. And I'd have to rank Milton up there as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in all college football as well. So definitely someone who can lead them to success again.
Does their schedule bode up for a possible NCAA playoff bid?
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Absolutely. I mean, they open up the year against, give me 1 second here. It's against UConn, I believe.
Yeah, UConn, and then an easy game against South Carolina State.
2 wins right off the bat there.
The question for me is if they run the table again, it's going to be, the committee should never leave a team out, let's face it, that runs the table over anybody that lost, in my opinion. It's just, that just shows the flawed system. It needs to be 8 teams. It just has to be, because then you can make the argument that that team's still not even close to Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, blah, blah, blah. But, they're going to punish teams for not so-called scheduling their way in. So they tried to schedule an ACC team in North Carolina. And
yes.
Now North Carolina had a down year last year. They were awesome 3 years ago, right? So when they probably made the schedule, it looked good. But now, is this going to be enough to boost them up? I think the good news...
And they have another out-of-conference game against Pitt as well at the end of September.
Yeah, against Pitt. And
which doesn't bode well for their resume either.
Yeah, it's like when Wisconsin played BYU. They were terrible that year. And, for many years, BYU was an 8, 9, 10, 11 win team, and they played BYU last year. It hurt them because BYU was freaking terrible. And then now they're playing UNC, North Carolina. That's not as good. I think they'll be better this year. And Pitt, which is supposed to be on the bottom of the ACC. So they definitely need to run the table if they want a shot. But the good news, like I was saying, Big Ten, they should be beating each other up this year. Alabama, Georgia, they could lose. You never know. That you got to pencil at least one of them in, for sure. I don't know if the committee is going to have the balls to have 2 of those teams in again, because they definitely got a lot of flack for it. And then you think the Big 12 is going to beat each other up, and we'll see what comes out of the Pac-12. So let's go to the season win total. What's it at?
I got it here at 9. And I actually, looking at the schedule, I love it. Like I said, they're going to be favored in, I think, every game that they play. The only toss-up game I really see on their schedule, kind of looking at everything, is I think Memphis is going to have, revenge on the mind, especially after that AAC championship game last year, which was an absolute shootout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Memphis is the one that I circled there.
Another one that could be tricky, I think, as well. Of course, the final game of the year against, USF. Those 2 teams just don't really like each other, and it's just always kind of a trap game, especially if they are, 11-0 leading into that game, there's going to be a lot of pressure there. Possible letdown as well.
Yeah, South Florida really did well last year, the year before. They should be doing extremely well again. Florida Atlantic, it's at Central Florida, so that
game I think will be a big test to see exactly what kind of UCF team this is going to be.
Absolutely. Lane Kiffin.
That'll tell us a lot about what to expect going forward for this team.
Yeah, so I can see why they put it at 9. I don't know if it's juice to the over. I lean over on this team for sure, personally. I don't know if that's your lean, but
yeah, no, I'm absolutely on the over on this one at 9.
Yeah, and I don't think North Carolina is quite good enough to beat them yet, but that's just the other one that you would be worried about. They should definitely take care of Pitt. All right, who's next in the rankings?
I'd have to go up to Memphis, actually. Mike Norvell, probably the coach, I would say, who's going to be probably grabbed, to go to a Power 5 school next. They lose some heavy hitters with Riley Ferguson and Anthony Miller, but they bring back a lot of talent as well. One interesting thing is Brady White from Arizona State should be transferring in, and he's kind of more of a pro-style quarterback, so I'm expecting him to kind of step in, kind of take over the job there. And they have two returning 1,000-yard backs with Darrell Henderson. He's more of a shifty kind of guy. And then they have, Patrick Taylor, who led the team in touchdowns last year, who ended up getting 13 touchdowns and ran for over 800 yards.
Okay. And so as far as the returning production, I'm having them – they're not returning a ton, and that's because their quarterback's gone, right, Ferguson?
Yeah, obviously between, Riley Ferguson and Anthony Miller, those two did put up a lot of their production, and Phil Mayhew was another guy they lost as well. But I think Tony Pollard's going to step into a big role. He played great on special teams. He's kind of one of those you can put him all over the field types. Mm-hmm. I expect him to, them to give him the ball and give him the opportunity to work in open space.
Gotcha. What's their total at?
They got him set at 8.5 for the year.
Okay. 8.5.
Minus 115 on both sides.
Does it bode well to take a side on this?
Kind of here looking at everything, I would lean towards the over, but it's one of those that I'm going to stay away from, to be honest. I see him kind of finishing 9-3, and that's just not something if I had him at 10 wins, maybe 11, I definitely would have it as a favorite, but 9-3, I'm not going to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. One thing I do like, though, is I do think they can run their side of the table, and a possible, futures bet for them to win the AAC is definitely a great possibility. Mm-hmm. And then you can ultimately, if they're playing, UCF in the championship, you can ultimately just hedge out of it to ensure some profit.
Yeah, the game already is at Memphis. Central Florida is favored by 2 points, so that kind of bodes for about a 5-point difference in power rating for Central Florida over them. So that's just kind of something to look at on the side here for one of the games of the year. So 8.5 is a bit high for this conference, so I can definitely see one being a little bit careful with them. So, and what was the major games that they're playing? Okay.
Definitely the Houston game's a big one for them. Missouri is going to be a big game for them out of conference. Obviously UCF. And those are kind of the big ones that I have circled here on the schedule.
Yeah, Missouri, I think we're going to take that over blindly.
Yes.
As soon as that thing comes out, I don't see any reason not to hit the over, because you're going to get so much value on it, because that thing's going to be bet up so high. You can take less to middle. You can decide how you want to do your units on that one. But literally, when the lines come out, take the over on the Memphis Missouri game, please, because there's going to be